Every single species on this planet spent millions of years adapting perfectly to Earth. Fish evolved specialized gills to breathe underwater and master the deep blue oceans. Birds developed incredibly lightweight, hollow bones to navigate the skies with absolute perfection. Polar bears grew thick, specialized fur coats to endure the brutal Arctic freezing temperatures. Then there is us, a bizarre species that literally burns under our own sun. Our spines are constantly deteriorating, leaving us in a state of perpetual back pain. Human childbirth is so intensely violent, it kills mothers more than any other mammal. We are the only living creatures who look around and feel something is wrong. What if the real reason we do not fit here is a hidden origin? Reptiles can bask in direct, intense sunlight for hours without a single biological issue. Dogs, cats, horses, and elephants spend their entire lives exposed under this exact star. Their natural fur, scales, and deep pigmentation are perfectly calibrated for this solar radiation. Our fragile biology was clearly never designed to withstand the raw power of this sun. We literally had to invent a chemical paste to smear over our skin outside. Think about it. We created sunscreen because our own star is trying to destroy us. Look at your spine. 80% of all humans will suffer from chronic back pain. When 4 out of 5 individuals share the same structural failure, something is broken. Our spine functions like a horizontal bridge that evolution desperately forced into a vertical position. Spinal discs compress under the relentless, crushing force of gravity in completely wrong ways. Other two-legged creatures like kangaroos and ostriches never experience this agonizing skeletal flaw. Their bodies were engineered from the ground up to stand completely upright with ease. Our frames were modified in an awkward, incomplete rush through the passage of time. Human childbirth remains the most hazardous, life-threatening delivery process in the mammalian world. The heads of our infants are so massive they barely fit through the birth canal. Before modern healthcare, bringing new life into the world was a leading cause of death. No other species routinely dies just trying to give birth to healthy, normal offspring. A wild mare completes labor in roughly 30 minutes out in the dangerous open. The newborn foal stands up and begins running completely unassisted within a single hour. Yet a human baby cannot even support its own head for several months. We are born entirely helpless, requiring absolute, constant care for years on end. We are fundamentally more vulnerable than any creature to ever walk this planet. Your immune system exists for one primary biological reason: to defend your survival. Yet in humans, this inner defense mechanism declares war on completely harmless everyday things. We suffer terribly from pollen, peanuts, dust, pet dander, and basic seafood daily. Roughly 30% of the global population battles with some form of chronic allergy. Your own evolutionary shields aggressively attack the air you breathe and your food. Either nature made a catastrophic mistake, or your body was calibrated for somewhere else. However, the most unsettling anomaly is not physical. It lies deep within your mind. No other animal on Earth lives with the conscious awareness that its death is inevitable. Dogs never lie awake wondering what happens after their biological clock stops ticking. Dolphins do not face existential dread, and wild elephants do not invent complex religions. But we do, moving through life fully aware of the ticking clock of our demise. We have spent our entire history trying to solve the dark mystery of the afterlife. We built monuments, drafted complex philosophies, and raised entire empires centered around death. Why would natural selection burden us with the paralyzing weight of chronic existential dread? This feels like the psychological signature of a species completely detached from its home, highly aware enough to feel something is missing, yet entirely unable to find it. Every other species exists in a state of harmonious balance with its native ecosystem, Predators manage prey, prey control vegetation, and microorganisms seamlessly recycle everything back. It is a perfectly closed loop where every creature fulfills its predetermined natural role. Except for humans, who bulldoze forests, poison clean rivers, and choke the global atmosphere. We have driven thousands of innocent species to extinction, with no signs of stopping. We do not participate in Earth's delicate ecosystem. We are actively tearing it apart. This behavior mirrors exactly what you would expect from a highly aggressive invasive species. An organism stranded inside a world it was never genuinely engineered to inhabit safely. We do not comprehend the local rules because they were never written for us. Back in 1973, a brilliant scientist named Francis Crick published a disturbing paper. He previously won the Nobel Prize for discovering the structural secrets of human DNA. Crick proposed directed panspermia, suggesting that life on Earth was intentionally seeded by extraterrestrials. The very pioneer who decoded our genetic blueprint argued that our timeline makes no sense. Biological life suddenly emerged on Earth roughly 3.8 billion years ago. Our planet had formed a mere 700 million years prior to this massive event. In deep geological terms, complex life manifested here almost completely overnight. The landscape was still a boiling, molten hell of jagged rocks and highly toxic gases. Yet life materialized almost the exact millisecond environmental conditions allowed it to happen. In 1969, a meteorite struck Australia packed with 90 distinct amino acids. The fundamental building blocks of our reality were literally hitchhiking on space rocks. We know microscopic organisms like tardigrades effortlessly survive the vacuum and cosmic radiation. Organic life can easily drift between entirely different worlds across the dark universe. Ecologist Ellis Silver famously argued our persistent physical flaws prove our extraterrestrial origin. However, modern biology explains these mysteries through a concept called evolutionary mismatch. Our upright spines are merely a prototype that never received its final system upgrade. We traded protective fur to sweat on open savannas, making sunburn our painful trade-off. Human brains expanded too rapidly, turning childbirth into a devastating evolutionary bottleneck. Our ancient minds were wired for tight tribes, not managing an entire global civilization. We are not alien invaders. We are simply primates who gained power far too quickly. Yet science remains unable to explain the blinding, unnatural speed of our cognitive evolution. Intelligent dolphins have existed for 50 million years without ever manufacturing a single tool. Wild chimpanzees discovered primitive sticks 4 million years ago and stayed completely unchanged. We went from throwing fractured rocks to deploying thermonuclear weapons in 2 million years, advancing rapidly from mastering fire to building the International Space Station in orbit, moving effortlessly from ancient cave paintings to engineering highly advanced artificial intelligence. Just 125 years ago, commercial aircraft simply did not exist. Merely 35 years ago, the global internet was completely absent from human society. Absolutely nothing in Earth's history has ever accelerated like this. Nothing comes close. The most transparent diagnosis from current science is that we simply do not know. The evolutionary mismatch framework successfully addresses the majority of our biological defects. We are almost indisputably a native product of this planet, molded by terrestrial forces. Yet, when a pioneer of genetics states something is missing, we must listen closely. This perpetual inner restlessness and desperate hunt for answers might be a real clue. We are easily the strangest anomaly this blue planet has ever birthed in history. A species that burns under sunshine, breaks under gravity, and stares at the stars. If we don't belong here, we have been searching for home for millennia. And the most terrifying realization of all is that we don't even know. If you've always felt like an outsider on this planet, hit that subscribe button and tell me your wildest theory in the comments below.